Good evening. You guys know what day it is. It is Friday, my fertilizer day. And I also come out here and trim the leaves of these plants, the lower leaves like this, so that the plant does not develop any type of virus. And I'm gonna have to try to figure out a better way to trellis these cucumbers. But while I'm out here working and cutting and doing maintenance, I want to bring up a question that I was asked by a coworker. He asked me, where did this gardening come from? Like, did it just come out of nowhere? And why am I gardening? And I told him, I was like, well, yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere, but honestly, gardening has been in my family since I was a child. So, my great-grandfather owned the farm, and he also raised chickens, and he sold chicken eggs. But he also grew a lot of stuff in the garden that he sold. So, and then my great-great-great-grandparents owned 100 acres of land in Live Oak, Florida, and they used to grow tobacco, and they raised and sold hogs. So it's kind of been in my family for a long time, but it was just something I wasn't interested in. I still have family members that are older who do have huge gardens in their backyards. I mean, like, they grow hundreds of pounds of stuff each year. So it's something that's been in my family, but honestly, I was never really interested in it. Maybe because, coming up in a generation of technology, all I ever wanted to do was learn computers. But gardening, like I said, became recent to me because after my father died and my sister died, it helped me a lot. But not only that, something that gardening helped me realize, like growing up in the era of the 70s, being born in the 70s, raised in the 80s and the 90s, and I grew up in that drug era. That era where drugs were heavy in the black community. So, it was a time where grandparents were raising grandkids. Well, my grandmother's two sets of grandparents, my father's parents and my mother's parents, they raised me and my sister because pretty much we was neglected by our parents. And so for a long time, I couldn't figure out things about me, like why I myself displayed abandonment tendencies where, if something wasn't working out for me, I could just easily walk away and not care. Kind of the mentality that a whole lot of people have these days. Like, if it doesn't make me happy, I'm just gonna walk away. I mean, that's good in a sense, but your entire life should not be lived that way, So I chose to surround myself around people who were abandoning themselves, like they would abandon me or neglect me in ways where, they didn't want to spend time with me. They didn't want to communicate with me. And I couldn't figure out for a long time, how come I was attracted. I actually was attracted to those type of people. It wasn't that I was attracting those type of people, but those are the type of people I sought because I knew I wasn't going to have to deal with them, because I knew they wasn't going to be around long. So I myself participated in it. Whether I initiated it, I also allowed that to happen in my life. So sometimes when I hear people with the gardening saying it's hard, I have life, and I'm not knocking anyone, but this is me personally, why I continue to put in the effort, even though I work a 9 to 5, even though I have other things going on in my life. This is why I still force myself to tend to my garden, because I realize that a gardening is a way to learn, to teach yourself to get out of that mentality of, I'm gonna get involved in something. If it don't work out, oh well, I tried it, walk away. I'm not doing that with this. Like, I noticed when people weren't nice to me, when people weren't nice to me, and they were displaying negligent tendencies, neglectful ways, I would get depressed and I would neglect the garden. And then one day I told myself, that garden is like your child. It did nothing to you. It didn't hurt you. So do not take out anything on it, because you the one who chose to do the gardening. You the one who chose to pick that seed and sow it. Because honestly, plants have emotions too. Plants have emotions just like we got emotions. So when you sow that seed and you just let it go bad and don't nurture it and take care of it, these plants know. And when they realize that they have a nurturing plant mom, they will grow for her or him, father. They will put out the best they can for them. And I've learned that. Because at the moment when I was going through stuff in my life, my garden and my indoor plants suffered. They were stressed just like I was stressed. And I had to get over myself. And get over my self-pity party. And get out there and tend to that garden that I said I was going to create with my own hands. Because like I said, these plants, we choose to sow the seeds. We choose to start. So we have to be responsible as garden families and treat it as if it is a human being. Like, for me, gardening has taught me to be present daily. And it taught me a lot about myself. It taught me a lot about the type of relationships I accepted in my life. See that? Stink bug eggs. I am going to squish them, but I did spray already, so they're not going to make it. But it just taught me a lot about myself. And it taught me to finally be present in something's life every single day. And don't neglect it. To love it. To nurture it. And then it taught me the way I treat this garden is the type of relationships that I expect from others, whether it's a intimate relationship or a friendship. It's no different. I no longer accept half effort in my life. I don't accept the every now and then text messages, because the way I see it, when people have time for social media and that's their life, they can do that. And it's my life to choose to not include those type of people in my life. But when people got time for everything else in this world, they can take a few minutes out the day to say, hey, how you doing? Just checking up on you. And that's what this garden has taught me. Yeah, the garden has taught me to be consistent, to be present, and to have patience, to be loving, to be nurturing, and to be understanding in the pest that we deal with. What it taught me is that's how relationships are. Like, the reason why you have to tend to a garden daily is because if you don't, the pest and the disease will set in and they will destroy your garden. And that's how I feel about relationships. When you're not checking in with someone you say you love or care about, you allow the pest, whether it's mental, other people putting words in their ear, or their own negative thoughts about what they think is going on in that relationship, to set in. Those are the pests of your relationship. That's why you have to stay on top of your relationship, just like you have to stay on top of your garden. I started out with one potted plant, but the more I connected with the plants, the more I could feel their energy, the more I could talk to them, the more I could give them my energy, and the more time and attention and effort I put into them, the better I saw them grow. So this is just something I personally wanted to talk about, what gardening means to me. When people ask me, why am I gardening so late in life? I'm like, I didn't know there was an age limit on gardening. I honestly didn't know that. But I don't care if you're gardening at 5 years old or 105 years old. Just do it. Because it's more than just, I want to take pictures with my harvest. I want to look good in my garden. Or, you know, I want to post videos to get likes and to get people to subscribe and watch. No. To me, this is like seeds of love that I'm sowing in my garden. And each one of these plants, they deserve a chance. They all deserve a chance. And the butterflies too helped me with my neglect issues, because I was one of those people who was like, why me? Why I didn't have parents? And for a long time, it was very hard for me to believe that anybody would really care for me, because I would say my own parents didn't want me, so why would anyone else care for me? And the butterflies, you know, when butterflies come into this world, they come from one butterfly who don't know another butterfly hooking up. The man go away, the woman lays the egg. The moment she laid the egg, she leaves that child, that little caterpillar, as an egg. It does not have anyone in this world to give it instructions on how to be a caterpillar, on how to grow into a beautiful butterfly. But yet and still, that caterpillar learns how to eat. It learns that it has to hang, and it knows when it has to hang with no instructions. And it probably doesn't even know what it's doing. All it knows is it needs to do something. And it climbs up when it's time, and it hangs, and then it makes a chrysalis without any instructions in life, without any mother, any father. And then one day it wakes up and it becomes a beautiful butterfly. And that's how I saw myself. That's what that butterfly made me realize, instead of feeling sorry for myself, that my life has been, I've been a caterpillar all my life. Taking in all I could take in, teaching myself all I could learn, no matter the circumstances I had in life. And excuse me for the noise my neighbor is doing their yard. But it taught me not to feel sorry for myself, that despite all of that, I still became a beautiful black butterfly. So this is just a little pep talk, you know, with my maintenance in the garden. And I know people get discouraged about their garden, and they see my garden and they say, oh, it's so good, but they don't realize the work that I put in every week, coming out here, fertilizer, spraying, squishing bugs, trimming back plants, making sure the water, they're getting water when there was no rain, you know, starting over when things didn't work out. They don't see the work that goes behind it, but this is what I'm reaping from it, guys. This is me. So that's all I want to say. I feel like Thanos walking through my garden, touching on my plants, and admiring what I created. Thanks, guys, for my little rant. Have a wonderful day. If you like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell, and share it. And also leave me a comment on why you're gardening and what gardening is teaching you about your life and how it has helped you in your life. Thank you, guys.